My name is Luciano Comin, and I am an online student at Full Sail. My game is a prison kind of similar reference to Lights Out, where basically you have to turn off all of the alarms to successfully escape. I have played this game a few times in testing, and I've only ever managed to beat it once, so I will not be doing that in this demonstration. I did, however, add a reset button where it will basically randomize the cubes like a new game. I have all of my prefabs. I only used 4, so I have those saved so that I don't have to reference everything over and over again. There are things that need to be put in each individual time, like which buttons are neighboring which. You have to do that manually where they're all set. Some buttons, like this one, are a corner piece, so there are 2 spaces that it cannot change. For this, I put in the game object as itself, and then in the code I said if the name of self is equal to the name of the neighboring switch, then ignore the code, just move on to the next bit of code. So if we look at the code, to start our project, we actually call reset because we had a reset button. We also have all of our variables here. We have a array for our bool to tell if the game is over. We have some win condition bools, and then some other variables like game objects for the switches. I could not find a way to do this with a loop, so I had to call each individual one. But this is basically telling each switch to reset yourself. So to reset, we assigned a random number to figure out whether it was on or off. And then based on that number, we turned it on or off, changed its color, and changed its score. Once a button is clicked, it calls the game manager. So first we had to find the game manager, then we had to use the on switch function in the game manager and pass through not only our own game object that the button is, but also its 4 neighboring switches. So if we go down to on switch, which is the command that was just called, first we are going to flip the button itself, and to do that I checked the text to say whether or not it was on or off, and then I just flipped it. Same thing with the color, the score, and all of that. And then for the neighboring switches, again, because corner pieces only have 1, we have to check to see if the neighboring switch is in fact the button itself. And if it is, we ignore it. Otherwise, we need to change all the values to the opposite. At the end of this, we did a check victory function. Check victory assigns the score that I talked about earlier, this bit right here, whether it's true or false, into an array for game over. I feel like there's a loop function you could probably do to assign this, but I couldn't figure out how to put a variable inside a variable name so that it would cycle through each switch, so I had to manually write it out like this. But for counting it, we can actually say if it's false, we're going to add 1 to count, and then if count is ever equal to 0 after going through all of the buttons, then that means that none of the buttons are left on, and we can display you have 1. And if so that we don't permanently end with 1, if the count is not 0 after the for loop, then we will reset it to 0. And that is my project. I tried to add I wanted to add a counter at the top. I actually wanted this counter up here to say how many times you flip the switches. But I actually got stuck on something really simple, which is this line of text here. I was trying to change the text, but I couldn't get it to show up with an integer. I was pretty sure this was how you do it. I tried even the toString command like that with the capitals, and I couldn't get it to work. But aside from that, this is my project. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.